This fruit is called the scare apple. The more scared it gets, the tastier it becomes, and its price goes up accordingly. All the hunters pulled out their best moves, just trying to get a higher level scare apple. Alu grabbed a voice amplifier stone and yelled at the apple with everything he had. After the judges checked it out, this apple hit a scare level of 27. Each level up is worth $1 million, so Alu easily walked away with $27 million. The highest record so far is only level 90. This tribal hunter pulled out an axe and started swinging it in front of the apple, but the apple just gave him a look of total disgust. Right then, a woman in a kimono walked over. She just said a few words to the apple and boom, the apple scare level shot up to 30. Next came a girl. She sprayed a large dose of sedative onto the apple, but it only reached level 19. The girl was deeply disappointed, causing it to level up by one more. To everyone's surprise, a cute little penguin waddled onto the scene and started singing to the apple. Suddenly, as if the apple had seen something extraordinary, its level skyrocketed to 25, trying to break the record. Alu ate some super spicy turkey noodles, then let out a massive scream. But this time the apple's level only went up by 1, hitting 28. However, while everyone was still trying to boost the apple's level, the judges found an apple on the ground. It was completely deformed. After a judge took a bite, this apple had reached an incredible level 80. Turns out the tribal hunter couldn't stand the apple's disgusted look anymore. He just gave up on the competition. But he still wanted to teach that apple a lesson. So he dropped his pants and let out a fart, which scared it all the way to level 80. One fart was more powerful than a nuclear bomb.
This apple with a human face is called a scare apple. The higher the scare, the better the taste. And the price of the apple will also increase with the level of scare. AK burst fire can only reach just level 3. Rocket launchers can reach above level 4. If you want to reach above level 60, you can only use missiles. And the most terrifying is the capped level 100, unless a meteorite hits the earth and explodes. This apple was heavily invested in by ICU, transplanted on Scare Island, far away from people. In order to cultivate delicious scare apples, ICU spares no effort to send warships to bomb around the island all year round. Now the annual Scare Festival is starting again. Gourmet hunters from all over come to challenge. Such a grand event cannot be without Toriko and others. In order to increase the scare level of the apple, gourmet hunters can be said to have shown their skills. And how can Toriko be willing to lag behind? Take out the loudspeaker stone prepared in advance. Everyone seeing this covered their ears one after another. The apple is still in a state of stupor at this moment. The next second Toriko roared suddenly. The sound wave instantly raged around. The whole island trembled for it. The scare apple was already scared out of its wits. Toriko confidently picked it off. But under the master's appraisal, the level only reached 27. But it also aroused the cheers of a group of gourmet hunters. The scare level occupies the highest in the field. Under Toriko's encouragement, the enthusiasm of the gourmet hunters is even higher. On the other hand, Tepe kept chatting with the scare apple. In such boredom, the apple actually fell asleep. Apple really wants to say you're boring. And Komatsu, in order for Toriko to get a higher scare level, specially prepared super spicy chicken noodles for him. At the moment when the spiciness went straight to the top of the head, Toriko went crazy instantly. The power of the shout increased again. However, the result was disappointing. This is one anime you shouldn't miss. In this world, there's a special kind of apple. The more you scare it, the better it tastes. And the scarier it gets, the more expensive it becomes. So naturally, there's a fair competition. Welcome to the world's most insane cooking game. First up is James, but he pulls out a megaphone and just starts screaming at it. No joke, he literally just yells at an apple. After testing, his apple fear level? Only 27. Next up, the weird guy named Ty Guy just talks nonstop to the apple. He bores it to sleep. Yeah, he emotionally exhausted the apple. James isn't giving up. To raise the bar, he eats a chili powder made by some evil spice master. And that fiery scream actually works. The fear level rises to 28. Only one level up, tough crowd. Then comes a kimono lady, ranked top 50 chefs in the world. She just sweet talks the apple like, come visit my house. The apple shivers at the thought. Level 20, easy. Then comes Terry the wolf. One howl and it's over. He hits a record-breaking 40. And just when things feel normal, a cute little penguin walks in, sings a thank you song. And the apple's like, I wasn't ready for this. 25 points of fear. From kindness, James isn't done yet. He drops a 17-hit punch combo, hanging midair in front of the apple. The apple faints. The crowd goes nuts. But the fear level? Just 50. Now the leaderboard. To hit 90 plus fear, you have to be legendary. There's the IGO president, 95. Old man balloon master, 92. Gourmet boss, 90. Then someone finds an apple registering. 80 fear. No one saw who did it. Who's behind this? It's the most terrifying being alive, James Landlord. One fart from him is worth $8 million. Still think apples are innocent?
This is a human face scare apple. The greater the scare it receives, the tastier the apple will be. And the price of the apple will increase several times as the scare level goes up. The competition officially started. There were machine guns, grenades, and even rocket launchers being used. Toriko took out a sound-amplifying stone and yelled at the apple for a while. After being evaluated by the taste master, Toriko's scare level was only 27. In order to break the record, Toriko began to eat the chili powder made by Komatsu. The intense spiciness combined with the sound-amplifying stone made Toriko's voice even more intimidating. This time, the scare level of the apple became 28, just an increase of 1 level. At this time, a woman in a kimono appeared. She was Chef Ice Pillar Mom, one of the top 50 chefs in the world. She used a coquettish voice to invite the apple to visit her home and easily reached a scare level of 20. Next was Kobayashi. He first spat out a large amount of sedatives at the apple and then started screaming loudly. But in the end, he only reached a scare level of 19. On the other side, Teppei kept talking to himself in front of the apple. First, he waited for the apple to fall asleep and then waited for it to wake up. When the apple saw that Teppei was still talking there, it was directly scared to a level of 30, which became the highest record so far. Toriko challenged again. This time, he threw a 17-hit nail punch in front of the apple and directly knocked the apple unconscious. And the scare level reached 50. The strongest person in the record was Ichiryu, the president of LGO, with a level of 95. Just then, the taste master suddenly noticed that there was an apple with a scare level of 80 beside it. And the person who caused all this was Zongjia, the strongest on the Earth's surface. Just one of his farts was worth 80 million.
This apple with a human face is called a scare apple. The higher the scare, the better the taste. And the price of the apple will also increase with the level of scare. AK burst fire can only reach just level 3. Rocket launchers can reach above level 4. If you want to reach above level 60, you can only use missiles. And the most terrifying is the capped level 100, unless a meteorite hits the Earth and explodes. This apple was heavily invested in by ICU, transplanted on Scare Island, far away from people. In order to cultivate delicious scare apples, ICU spares no effort to send warships to bomb around the island all year round. Now the annual Scare Festival is starting again. Gourmet hunters from all over come to challenge. Such a grand event cannot be without Toriko and others. In order to increase the scare level of the apple, gourmet hunters can be said to have shown their skills. And how can Toriko be willing to lag behind? Take off the loudspeaker stone prepared in advance. Everyone seeing this covered their ears one after another. The apple is still in a state of stupor at this moment. The next second Toriko roared suddenly. The sound wave instantly raged around. The whole island trembled for it. The scare apple was already scared out of its wits. Toriko confidently picked it off. But under the master's appraisal, the level only reached 27. But it also aroused the cheers of a group of gourmet hunters. The scare level occupies the highest in the field. Under Toriko's encouragement, the enthusiasm of the gourmet hunters is even higher. On the other hand, Teppei kept chatting with the scare apple. In such boredom, the apple actually fell asleep. Apple really wants to say you're boring. And Komatsu, in order for Toriko to get a higher scare level, specially prepared super spicy chicken noodles for him. At the moment when the spiciness went straight to the top of the head, Toriko went crazy instantly. The power of the shout increased again. However, the result was disappointing. This is a human face scare apple. The more frightened it gets, the tastier it becomes. Its price multiplies based on the scare level it reaches. The competition officially begins. Contestants pull out machine guns, hand grenades, even rocket launchers. But Alu takes a different approach, whipping out an amplification stone and yelling at the apple with all his might. After the Taste Master's evaluation, Alu's scare level only hits 27. Next up is Teppei the Chatterbox. His scare method is pretty unique. He just keeps talking to the apple non-stop until he actually lulls it to sleep. Determined to break the record, Alu scarfs down the spiciest food he can find. The intense heat combined with the amplification stone makes his voice even more intimidating. This time the apple's scare level jumps to 28, just one measly level higher. Then a woman in a kimono appears, one of the world's top 50 chefs. With her sweet voice, she invites the apple to visit her home, effortlessly hitting level 20. Rin is up next. She sprays the apple with a massive dose of tranquilizers first, then unleashes her legendary temper in full force, scaring the apple up another level. Meanwhile, the sleeping apple wakes up to find Teppei still rambling on and on. This actually frightens the apple to level 30, setting the current record. Terry the battle wolf lets out a howl that shatters the record again, reaching level 40. Alu throws another punch, stopping his fist right in front of the apple's face. The apple passes out from sheer terror, but the scare level only reaches 50. So just how powerful are the people who've achieved levels above 90 in the records? IGO President Ichiria hit 95, Jiro reached 92, and Gourmet Corporation boss Midori scored 90. But just then, the Taste Master suddenly discovers an apple with a scare level of 80. Turns out it's from Zong, the world's strongest man, who managed to scare an apple worth $80 million just by farting.
This is a scared apple. The more frightened it gets, the better it tastes. And as its fear level rises, so does its price, multiplying several times over. Everyone pulled out their special tricks. There were machine guns, grenades, even rocket launchers. Anything they could use, they did. Toriko grabbed a sound amplification stone and shouted at the apple as loud as he could. A massive sound wave spread out in all directions. According to the taste experts, the fear level had reached 27, pretty high by any standard. Next up was Teppei. His method was unique. Using his talent for languages, he relentlessly bombarded the apple with insults. The apple could only escape by falling asleep, hoping the world would quiet down. To break the record, Toriko ate a devilishly spicy pepper stir-fry made by Komatsu. The next second, the pepper's fiery heat shot straight to the top of his head. Then, amplified by the sound stone, the effect was even stronger than before. Everyone was blown back by the force of it. This time, the apple's fear level shot up to 28. Meanwhile, the sleeping apple finally woke up. Seeing Teppei still talking non-stop, the apple just couldn't take it anymore. It was so frightened, its fear level level jumped straight to 30, making it the highest level so far. Then, something unexpected happened. The taste experts froze, their eyes widening. A level 80 apple had suddenly appeared on the scene. Could there be a hidden master here? Zongkai, over to the side, had had enough. No matter what he tried, the apple stayed unbothered. He dropped his axe in frustration and decided to give the little apple a lesson it would never forget. With a loud fart that echoed through the place, a thick, nauseating stench filled the air, causing the apple to make an expression as if it had just eaten something foul.
This is a kind of scare apple. The greater the fright they experienced, the more flavorful the apple will be. The quality improves with the level of fright, but to elevate its quality to the top level, conventional artillery won't work. Even if dropped an atomic bomb on him, can only reach 60 levels of fright. If want to reach the top 100 levels, unless the world is destroyed. But the relative response, the price of apples will increase several times with each level. With the start of the competition, the people are taking out all kinds of weapons. Some were even holding space megaphones, shouting at the apples. The apple was stunned by the loud roar. After the judge's appraisal, the quality of the apple reached 27 grade. The selling price even reached 13.5 million. At that moment, a powerful woman came over. She is the world-famous food killer. With just a few simple words, the apple's level was raised to 30. In order to catch up with the woman, the man unleashed all his strength. He unleashed his full strength on the apple. The powerful aura directly caused apple to faint. The level even reached an astonishing 50.
In the apple further. Amid the commotion, an appraiser on the ground noticed an apple whose face was utterly destroyed. Puzzled, he picked it up and took a bite. To his amazement, the apple's scare level registered at an unprecedented 80. Looking around, the appraiser tried to figure out who could have produced such a powerful result. Then, as he continued eating, he spotted the culprit, Zongkai. It turned out that Zongkai had managed to terrify the apple to this historic level 80, with nothing more than a fart. As Toriko watched the scene unfold, all his enthusiasm drained away in an instant.
This is an apple with a human face on it, and the more terrified it gets, the more delicious it becomes. Not only that, but its price skyrockets right along with its terror level, so tons of people are trying to strike it rich overnight with this thing. People start using all kinds of crazy methods to scare the apple. Toriko pulls out a whistle from his backpack and screams at the apple. Massive sound waves blast out, and the apple's face twists into pure terror. After experts carefully analyze the fruit's facial expression, they announce its terror level has hit 27. Toriko walks away with a cool $27 million prize money, because every time the apple's terror level goes up by 1, its value jumps by $1 million. To reach level 80 or higher, you'd need to drop a nuke on it. And hitting level 100? Even blowing up the entire planet probably wouldn't cut it. Another contestant decides to try his luck, but his method is totally bizarre. He just starts talking nonstop until the apple falls asleep. Everything seems pretty weird here. Another contestant is a woman. She walks up to the apple and says sweetly, "Little apple, I'm going to wash you nice and clean, then eat you up." This simple statement sends the apple into absolute panic, pushing its terror level to 28. Toriko is totally ticked off. To beat this woman, he has Komatsu whip up some insanely spicy turkey noodles. The intense heat plus an amplifier stone makes Toriko's voice even louder, creating sound waves that nearly knock people over. But the terror level only climbs to 29. Meanwhile, that chatty young guy is still going at it. When the apple finally wakes up, it realizes the dude is still talking, which scares it up to level 30. The guy becomes the current record holder. Not to be outdone, Toriko unleashes his ultimate move, the 17 nail punch, right at the apple. The next second, it's like a category 50 hurricane hits the island. The apple gets so scared it passes out, but the terror level only reaches 50. That's Toriko's limit, and he walks away with $50 million. But just then, an expert suddenly discovers an apple that's hit terror level 80. He wants to figure out who the hell has that kind of power. Turns out it's Zong, the strongest guy on the planet. All he did was fart in the apple's direction to reach that level, earning himself a whopping $80 million.
The man's voice was like a tornado. This time, the scare level of the apple reached level 28, which was still far from the best edible level of 90. At this moment, a woman appeared. She was the world's 8th ranked gourmet. She slowly walked up to the apple, then took out a bottle of poison and threatened the little apple that she would soak it in the poison forever. Facing such a vicious way, the little apple was too scared to move. Just one sentence actually scared the apple to level 20. However, Nami adopted a completely different approach. First, she used perfume to make the little apple relax. Then, when the apple wasn't expecting it, she suddenly let out a loud shout. The little apple was immediately stunned by the scare, and the scare level reached level 19. But Nami wasn't satisfied. She continued to intimidate the apple, and the little apple was shaking with fear. Its level increased by one more level on the spot. Indeed, an angry woman is the scariest. The man beside them was still talking to the apple. When the little apple woke up and found that the man was still talking, it was directly scared to level 30. Komatsu let out a series of shouts at the apple, but in the end, he was despised by the apple. With a roar, the king wolf refreshed the record again and reached level 40. Then it was the little penguin's turn to make an appearance. A sweet lullaby directly scared the little apple to level 25. The man decided to use his ultimate move. He directly threw a punch, scaring the little apple into a coma. Unfortunately, the scare level was only 50. If the apple hadn't been scared into a coma, the level might have been higher. Therefore, the man was very curious about what kind of powerful person could make the apple reach level 9.
This was a fright apple. The more terrified it got, the better it tasted. And with every level of fear, its price shot up. The contest began. Gunfire, grenades, even rocket launchers. Everyone showed off their best. Arlu took a different route. He grabbed a sound-amplifying stone and screamed straight at the little apple. It froze in shock. After testing, the apple hit level 27. At 500k per level, Arlu scored 13.5 million. Normally, basic weapons only got you to level 3. Level 60, you'd need a nuclear missile. Level 100, Earth would have to explode. So far, the record was 90. Then came Tepe. His method? Endless rambling about his family. The apple fell asleep. A wild axe swinger tried brute force. The apple just rolled its eyes. Arlu wasn't done. He ate ghost pepper noodles, then screamed into the amp like a volcanic tornado. Result? Level 28. Barely an upgrade. Breaking 90 was clearly insane. A woman in a kimono walked in, one of the world's top chefs. She said a few calm words. The apple freaked out. Level 20. Yep, women are terrifying. Xiaoling sprayed relaxing mist, then suddenly screamed. The apple jumped to level 19. Frustrated, she yelled even more. Level 20. Meanwhile, the sleeping apple woke up to find Tepe still talking. Out of pity, it scared itself to level 30. New high score. Komatsu screamed himself hoarse. The apple just looked disgusted. Komatsu was crushed. Little penguin danced. The apple hit level 25. Then Wolfman roared once. Level 40. A new record. Arlu went all out. A rapid-fire 17-punch combo stopping just an inch from the apple. It fainted. Maxed out at level 50. His best yet. So who actually broke level 90? According to the evaluator, IGO chairman, 95 pressure point master, Jiro, 92 gourmet corp head, Toriko, 90. True legends. Arlu muttered. Just then, the evaluator found an apple nearby, its face frozen in terror. He took a bite. Level 80.
This apple surprisingly has a face. The more scared it gets, the better it tastes. And as the scare level increases, so does the price. During the competition, some participants used machine guns, grenades, and even rocket launchers to scare the apples. Meanwhile, Toriko pulled out a loudspeaker and yelled at the apple, shaking the entire island. After the judges assessed it, they found that this apple only had a scare level of 27. Determined to break the record, Toriko quickly ate some spicy peppers, and the intense heat combined with the loudspeaker made his voice even more intimidating. This time, the apple's scare level jumped to 28. Just then, a female chef appeared and gently invited the apple to her home, effortlessly achieving a scare level of 20. Next up was a girl who sprayed a calming agent on the apple and then suddenly yelled at another apple, bringing its scare level to 19. Toriko challenged again, delivering a powerful punch to an apple, which knocked it out cold, but its scare level only reached 50. At that moment, the judges noticed an apple with a scare level of 80. It turned out that a funny guy had farted, and that was enough to scare the apple to that level, earning him a whopping 80 million in reward.
These apples with human faces taste better the more scared they get, and the price goes up with the scare level too. The competition officially begins. Toriko pulls out a sound amplifier stone and lets out a huge shout. A massive shockwave spreads out. The apples are all terrified, but Toriko's scare level only hits 27. Next, another contestant uses a unique way to scare the apples. She crouches down and keeps talking to the apples, which makes them fall asleep. Then a woman in a kimono shows up. Nobody knows what she said to the apples, but the scare level shoots straight up to 20. Another beautiful woman takes the stage. First, she spits a ton of sedatives at the apples, then screams at them. Her scare level reaches 19, losing to the kimono lady. To break the record, Toriko eats a plate of secret spicy sauce and uses it with the soundstone to make his voice more intimidating. The apple's scare level clearly goes up. Meanwhile, the sleeping apples wake up. The contestant is still talking to herself and actually scares the apples to level 30, setting the highest record so far. Toriko tries again, throwing a 17-hit nail punch combo that stops right in front of the apples, scaring them unconscious. But the scare level only reaches 50. I heard a lot of big shots showed up for this one. Who do you think will win in the end?
How can Toriko scare a more advanced scare apple? Komatsu went to the kitchen for this. First he filled it with super hot devil's peppers, and then he added red hot garlic. After a brief stirring, a bowl of steaming hot turkey noodles is ready. Toriko takes just one taste. A strong spicy flavor went to his head, with the help of a megaphone. Toriko's voice was like a tornado destroying a parking lot. And this time, the apple's scare level reached 28. It's not even close to the optimal level of 90. At that moment, a beautiful woman in a kimono appeared. She is Miss Icicle, the world's 8th ranked gourmet. She slowly came to the apple. Then she took out the formalin solution and threatened Apple to soak it in it. Faced with such a vicious beauty, Apple was so scared that she opened her mouth wide. Her words scared Apple to level 20. Nami used a completely different approach. She first used perfume to relax Apple. Then she suddenly shouted. Little Apple was instantly startled, and her fright level reached 19. But Nami wasn't willing to terrorize Apple. Apple was trembling with fear. She went up one level on the spot. It's true that angry women are the scariest. Tepe was still yammering on about Apple, until little Apple woke up from her nap. This man is still nagging. He scared himself to level
level 30 on the spot. Komatsu was screaming at Apple, but he was met with Apple's disdain. Wolf King Terry roared. Komatsu set a new record at level 40. Then it was time for the little penguin to make his debut. A lullaby scared Apple to level 25, and Toriko decides to go for the big one. He threw a series of 17 spikes, and he scared Apple to death. Unfortunately, the scare level is only 50. If Apple hadn't been stunned, it could have been even higher. Toriko was very curious. What kind of strong person can make the level reach 90?